Alright everybody, here we have part 3 of the Build a Better Backswing series. If you've taken a look at the first two parts of the series, we have 4 videos. The first one dealing with the shoulders and hips, the way they turn. The second one dealing with the knees and the way they turn, both in the backswing of course. And today we're talking about part 3, which will be the tilts of some of the body parts here. So if you've watched any of my videos before, I've done a quick snapshot of the tilts before. And if you don't, if you're not familiar with the word tilts or tilt, T-I-L-T in the backswing, you know, some people call this lateral bending or lateral flexion of these body parts like the pelvis and the shoulders or the rib cage. There's a lot of different things you can refer to. So basically, you know, you can think of something, it can move around, it can move up and down, and it can move kind of left to right if you're looking at some of the stuff. So basically, because we play golf on a bent over angle, the tilting in the backswing and the downswing and the follow through is a very, very integral part of the game of golf. And also I think one reason why it makes it difficult, because we don't play straight up and down. And I think that's part of the reason why people have trouble. So you can see here, this is a setup position. So see this yellow line across the shoulders? That's basically a measurement Gears is using some of the markers to see what the line of the shoulders does, how much it turns, how much it tilts in this case we're talking about. And then there's a line across the hips. You can see how that line is not tilted in the same angle as the shoulders, and there's a line across the knees as well. So we're going to pay attention to how these move in the backswing. Now another thing you'll see is that I have the numbers for the rib cage up here. So this is measuring a different point of the body, but it's also doing similar things. It's turning, it's tilting, it's extending. So we can look at this tilt number as well. So let's start there. So this is the rib cage, the upper torso, and you can see this as a 7.21 of right tilt here. So tilt away from the target. We're hitting this way where this white arrow is. Now as I take this swing back, you'll see that this number, this 7, is going to start decreasing. So there it's down to almost 2, down to 1, and basically it's level right now. So the rib cage in this swing, and I can take off the body lines part, the rib cage in this swing has already leveled out. So this part, this middle part of the upper torso is now not tilted away from the target anymore. And you'll see it's going to, as the backswing goes on further, it's going to increase in a negative number. So that means it's tilting to the left. You can see clearly the left shoulder is going down here. The right shoulder is appearing to go up. And that's because of this lateral tilting motion as we turn on a tilted angle, basically because we're playing bent over. So it's at 35, 36, 40. So this is the arm parallel to the ground position. If I swing this around, you'll now see that this 40 degrees is angled down towards the ground where it wasn't at address. So it went from 7.21 of tilt to the right to now going with left shoulder down to 40 degrees already at this point in the swing. So that's a change of 47 degrees or so of leftward lateral tilting. So the, you know, if you had a zipper on a jacket here or on a shirt would be now angled this direction. It would not be straight up and down anymore. And the easiest way you can see that is rotating the camera with the turn of the torso. So if we go back here, this is the cool thing about using 3D is we can see this kind of in real time. And my good friends and mentors, Andy Plummer and Mike Bennett, were the first ones to ever show me this, and probably the first ones to show a lot of people this. But if you wanted to just observe the left tilt in the backswing, you'd have to be at some sort of right angle to where the shoulders were turning. At address, it's easy to see that this line here is tilted to the right, or excuse me, looks like it's tilted to the left from our version. The golfer is tilted to the right, away from the target. And as we go through certain points in the swing here, we're going to, I'll turn off the numbers here just so we can see the lines. And as we go through, we'll take this and start it a little bit. So you can see obviously that the line across the shoulders here is moving down towards the ground. So let's try to get matched up with it in a 3D sense. It's pretty close right there. So you can see how much angle that's already begun. You can also see the same thing is happening to the hip line. And then also you can see how the knee line is starting to follow along a little bit as well. So as we turn this golfer a little bit more, now let's pull the swing along to get the chest matched up with the camera again, the camera angle. So now you can see that this angle is steepened even more. You can see the hips have as well, and the knees. And as we go to roughly what we would call down the line view, now as the rib cage is right at us 90 degrees, you can really see the amount of tilt. So we'll call this the top of the swing. Not necessarily the top, but let's call this the point where the hands and the club are stopping their backward motion. So there you can see how the knees, because the left knee has flexed a lot, that adds tilt to the knees. Because of that, the pelvis or the hips have tilted to the left, and also the upper shoulders, upper torso, rib cage is tilted to the left. So that's the basics to a really high quality backswing, is getting these kind of lines at different angles. Now, if I take the body lines away and we just look at the pelvis here, you'll see that it's turned 42 degrees. If you watch the earlier videos, that's what I like to see, 40 or more with a full swing of like an 8-iron or more probably. So he's got 40 degrees of turn here. Let's go back to the beginning and just watch how much of this left tilt gets put in. So here at address, he's got 2.32 of left tilt actually at address. So you can see that from behind here. You'll see that the pelvis is probably has a little bit of angle to it. And that's something that you see as well. So let's go body lines one more time. Yes, you can see that this line, shoulders are tilted back away from the target. Hips are usually very, very level at address. And that depends on factors, but usually pretty level. You can see he's got already a negative number there, so 2 degrees of left tilt. Let's take that off again and then go to the pelvis. So he's got -2. That number is going to change. It's at -6, -7, -8, -9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And he's changing direction there, but basically gets to 14 degrees of leftward tilt. So that's total 14. If we put the rib cage up there again, we've got a total of, let's go back just a little bit here. You know, at the max, he's got 40, which he started at 7 the other way, so he goes about 47 degrees with the torso and about 14 with the pelvis. So if we go one more time from down the line and just take a look at that, and just kind of in closing here, we'll take the numbers off and we'll just leave the lines. So, you know, if you're lacking with the knees, sometimes that makes the pelvis work funny. If you're lacking with the pelvic tilt, sometimes that makes the center of the shoulders work a little bit funny as well. So lots of combinations that work, but this is the overview. So I'll be doing a little drill video, probably use some sticks again across my shoulders and hips so we can see how they work and how you can possibly add or take away tilt if you think you've got too much in one of those areas.